The internet is currently a fever dream, and I'm your cold glass of water. Before we look at today's lapses in logic, do me a favor. Engage with the buttons below. Like, subscribe, and share, so the algorithm realizes we're being watched. Let's begin.
If you want to speed up the process and make sure all illegal immigrants are deported out of our great country, take this idea. President Trump, if you're listening, tell all illegal immigrants that you would make them American citizens if they vote Republican. And watch how fast Democrats and liberals will get them out of the country so fast it would make all our heads swim.
Weaponized citizenship, the ultimate political reverse card. The border will be sealed by dinner time and the walls will be built by the very people who said walls don't work. I like it. It's the only way to make a liberal demand a background check faster than buying a firearm.
It's literally just kidnapped a 5-year-old boy and then used it as bait in front of the door to get his parents to then deport them. What the media wants you to think. And honestly, I would believe it if I read it from an article or just saw that headline that ICE took a 5-year-old boy. And truly, I'd be like, oh my gosh, that's horrible. But I do my research. Therefore, I don't believe that. Let's talk about what actually happened. CNN wants to say that ICE took a kid and then used it as bait to get its father to deport him. What really happened was the father and the son were in the car. The father abandoned his son or left his son, whatever you want to say, in the car. ICE got the son, brought it to its home. The woman in the home did not want the boy. Denied multiple times by the ICE agents, saying give it to its father. Therefore, ICE has the father and the son. Here in America, even if you have a family and you do a crime or do something illegal, you don't usually go with your family, with your spouse, with your partner, whatever you want to call it. We usually just take the person who committed the action. So instead of blaming ICE, blaming our president for every single action, how about let's do your research and blame the parents? Because that 5-year-old boy who's plastered everywhere, the fact that his face is everywhere, and it wasn't even ICE's fault. Let's blame the parents. They had the choice. They chose. The woman in that house chose not to take him in. Therefore, he's with his father. So instead of believing every single news article headline you see, please do your research.
So, the father abandoned the child, the family refused to take him, and ICE actually reunited them? But the headline said kidnapping. If the media worked any harder at spinning the truth, they generated enough electricity to power the border wall. Do your research. It's free. So the cages were built by Obama, used by Obama, and the left remains silent? I guess the outrage only comes with a specific set of tax returns and a red tie. The selective hearing on the left is truly a medical marvel.
People and Christians are like, Jesus would not want a border. He would not want illegal immigrants to leave our country. He would not like ICE. He would not like what President Trump is doing. I don't think Jesus would like people doing illegal things. Also, heaven has a border. I hope y'all know that not everyone goes to heaven, and there's actually a border, and you have to be saved to go to heaven. So you would think if Jesus has a border to heaven and only specific people who are saved can come to his home, that he would understand why we would have one.
Even the pearly gates have a gatekeeper. There is a process, there are requirements, and there is a no entry list. If the afterlife isn't an open border policy, why are we expected to have one for a sovereign nation? Common sense isn't a sin.
Do you know who she is? Who this is? Who this is? Who she is? Who these group of women are? But I bet you know who these two are. Charlene Downs, abused by Pakistani men, murdered and her body never found. 19-year-old Philippine, and murdered by a Moroccan migrant. 9-year-old Luna, who's now wheelchair bound after being attacked by a migrant teen. Laken Riley, who was and killed by an illegal migrant. And these women, just a fraction of the hundreds of thousands that have been raped, assaulted and abused across the West. But the left would rather you know about George Floyd, a criminal, and Renee Good, who died fighting to protect the very people that harm us. The white saviour complex has got to stop. We must reverse mass migration and put our people
She said it plainly
first.
and she's right.
When you ignore the law, You ignore the safety of the citizens the law was designed to protect. Laken Riley and these other young women aren't statistics or talking points. They are the cost of a system that values a narrative over national security. Respecting the border isn't hate. It's the only way to ensure that a better life doesn't come at the expense of any one American.
Okay, I just saw a clip where Mayor Zohran Mamdani was asked about whether his programs, especially the one about free child care, would it be for undocumented immigrants, because New York roughly has millions of undocumented immigrants. And he answered saying that these programs, these social programs, due to New York being a sanctuary city and having these rules or laws part of their legislature for years, that it is open to any and every New Yorker that qualifies for it, no matter their immigration status or citizen status. He said it is for all New Yorkers. And I get what he's saying, but at the same time, Mayor Mamdani, how can you not be an American citizen but be a New Yorker? New York is in America. If you're not a citizen of America, you can't be a citizen of a city in America. Those are people in New York. Those are not New Yorkers. Because if you were a New Yorker, you would be an American.
Apparently, geography is now a substitute for legality. If I stand in the garage, that doesn't make me a Honda Civic. New York is in America. If you aren't a citizen of a country, you're just a tourist with a very long-term lease and a lot of unearned benefits.
I just got into the biggest freaking argument with my mom because she is a Republican. She's like, yeah, I think we should get all the immigrants out of here because you know what? There's laws for a reason. People need to follow the laws and blah, blah, blah. We don't know who's good and who's not. It's not a risk we're willing to take. Blah. I had to put that lady in her place and tell her, girl, when you get all those immigrants out of our country, who do you think is going to be scrubbing your toilets? Hello? Who's going to be walking your dog and cleaning up the poopy on the side of the road? Who's going to be cleaning your house for the low? Who's going to be doing your lawn for $5? Who's going to be taking care of your kids for less than minimum wage? Who's going to be picking the crops in the hot sun when nobody else wants to do it? Who's going to be washing the dishes in the restaurants? Because you're not going to do that, girl. All the cheap labor jobs, all the jobs that are done for minimum wage, all the jobs that nobody wants because they're too much of hard labor that don't pay. Who's gonna do them when you take the immigrants out of here? These people are so freaking racist.
I hope you're catching the humor in that. But listen, the argument for illegal immigrants always eventually circles back to wanting cheap labor to do the dirty jobs. It's funny how the side that preaches compassion is the first to suggest we need an underclass of people to scrub their toilets for $5. This isn't policy. That's just exploitation with a moral ego. Try moving to Japan or Switzerland without a visa and demand free housing and a debit card. They wouldn't give you a protest. They'd give you an escort to the nearest exit. Only in America is knowing where you live considered an act of aggression.
Motherfuckers be hitting on ICE so much that they be protesting these motherfuckers for doing their job. Imagine, you're so brainwashed
and ignorant
that you're against the group who's in charge of keeping illegal people out of the country. That's like protesting the police
for enforcing the fucking law.
Oh wait!
Some of y'all did that bullshit, huh?
Never mind that though. You got actual citizens protecting these people out here. Scouting and even doing
fucking recon for these individuals.
Even interfering in investigations. And I absolutely love when people bring up to me ICE's methods, right? Like, I'm sorry, do you just expect the ICE officer to politely roll up and ask, and then for the illegal to be like,
hi, Mr. ICE officer, you caught me. Now you can send me back to the country that I clearly fled from and that I don't want to be in anymore.
If that's how you expect the interaction to go, then you're delusional and unrealistic as These officers are removing people who clearly want to stay. Of course they're going to be irrational, emotional, and create a scene in front of everybody in the famous clips that you probably see all over your social media.
Why wouldn't they?
They'll garner sympathy points. Still doesn't mean that what ICE is doing is wrong, though. It just happened to be that the illegals didn't get their way. And is ICE completely innocent as an organization? Of course not. It's like every other federal group out there. It's going to have its bad apples. It doesn't mean that y'all get to crucify them entirely.
Imagine spending your Saturday running tactical recon for people breaking federal laws. These people aren't just protesters. They're unpaid interns for a travel agency that specializes in avoiding U.S. customs. I hope they at least get validation for parking.
Y'all let me know if I'm the crazy one here, because I can't wrap my brain around this to save my life. We got people literally camping in the streets, crying, lighting candles, holding signs, getting arrested, doing the most for people who broke into this country illegally. But when it comes to American veterans sleeping under bridges, suddenly there's not even a thought. A man, a woman, because that's all the fuck there is, can wear the uniform, deploy overseas, miss their kids growing up, come home broken, physically, mentally, spiritually, and the government goes, best we could do is a wait list and a pamphlet. But someone crosses the border illegally, housing, healthcare, here's food, legal protection, here's a debit card. Are y'all out of y'all minds? I don't want to hear you can care about both. Stop lying. If you cared about both, vets wouldn't be sleeping on sidewalks in the country they defended. Some of y'all act like vets are an inconvenience. And once the uniform comes off, apparently so does the give a. If you've ever screamed no human is illegal but walked past a homeless vet like he was invisible, you're not moral. You're a fraud. Cities are cutting checks for people who shouldn't even be here. Hotel rooms, prepaid cards, free healthcare, translators, legal defense. Meanwhile, a veteran with PTSD has to prove he's broken enough to deserve a Nutri-Grain bar. You got illegals getting better benefits than the people who paid into the system their entire damn lives. Explain that to me slowly and use crayon if you have to. Y'all will shut down traffic for someone who hopped a fence, but won't block a single street for the Marine who hopped on a grenade and came home invisible. And you weird ass politicians love to say we don't have the money, but somehow there's always enough money for people who aren't citizens. That's not a lack of funds, that's a choice. You want open borders because it makes you feel virtuous, but you won't open your couch to a homeless vet. I bet that if you think America owes the world everything but owes its own nothing, you don't love this country, you love the image of yourself pretending to give a. Then you got influencers crying on camera for engagement, tears queued up like it's a audition. Look at me fighting for illegals. I'm such a good person. Where's that same energy for the veterans sleeping behind the Walmart dumpster? Oh wait, homeless veterans don't trend. They don't boost engagement. They don't fit into a 30-second reel with sad piano music. So instead, you post border clips, slap a hashtag on it, and collect views while doing absolutely nothing of substance. You'll call ICE evil from your air-conditioned ass apartment, but won't donate a jacket or a single minute to a vet shelter. That is monetized outrage. Fix our house first. Honor the people who built and defended it. Then we could talk about having guests over. Until that happens, don't talk to me about compassion.
Our veterans get a pamphlet and a wait list. Illegal immigrants get a hotel room and prepaid debit card. The government is basically treating our heroes like bad Yelp reviews and the new arrivals like VIP influencers. Make it make sense. I'll wait. That's enough internet for one session. If this content triggered your common sense, smash the like button and share this until the algorithm gives up and promotes us. Subscribe to stay ahead of the curve. I'll see you in the next one. But for now, remember, you've been warned.